Word 1. The Arrival. Through the interwoven shadows crept an evanescent gleam, mingled still with night, and it was my mind's own dawning of the light. Of all hours it was the sweetest. All around was wafted something more caressing than the breeze when it bears the morning balsam of the pine-wood trees. Something even more caressing than that soft embrace. It was in a distant country, fountainhead of times and peoples, far away in Thrace. It was where two worlds in conflict, lusting with the same love madness, burned to clasp the radiant mistress of the Bosporus, the peerless, the all-beautiful, and mantled splendidly they stayed to greet and kiss the earth beneath her feet. There the peoples swarmed like locusts, and like honeybees they hovered. There stood of two shores the wonder, a Nereid born of the foam. You, you, O gleaming city. And it was the world's great garden, where united in one glory nations disparate were mated, where from earth's remotest ends flocked barbarians to be marshalled in a single battle line, ranked beneath Hellenic banners in the Rome of Constantine. From the twin banks of the Narrows it appeared as though there sprouted cities spun of green. There gushed fountains of green branches, and their flowers, fairy guise, glittered like a rain of rubies, cataracting from the skies into pools of green and gold. And the sunbeams' slanting track smote from the Bythenian mountains, the Magnavras and Vlakernas, and those palaces reared proudly, glanced the sunlight back. From the castle's golden gates, from the unstormed seven towers, to the scattered isles' green coasts, there were palaces in legions, monasteries in hosts. Then it was as though were woven, interwoven and unwoven, sorceries of some enchantress over all those domes and steeples. And, O soul, you joyed apart in the gleam of soaring crosses, and you fretted, O my heart, in the gloom of cypresses. Sown and scattered in white harbours, warships turreted and tall, flaunting high your prow's bronze lions, rocking to the sea's soft breath. Are you dreaming of past glories, or of death? They were not conquering armies, by warlike Caesars led, beneath the golden wings of eagles overhead. Nor were they spent crusaders, or horsemen riding blind, who had been hustled there by storm and driving wind. Nor were they emir lords, trailing behind them Arab or Turkish hordes. They were not havoc-bringing, blonde-raiding Viking crews, descending in their fleets from northern bergs and flows and Tauro-Scythian snows. To timid, trembling beaches they were not brought in fleets of ships with dragon prows. No, they were travellers from afar, who endlessly, day after day, for countless years had wandered. wayfarers who had lost their way, and with their way had lost, by slow degrees all purpose, by slow degrees all scope, and after these all memory, and at the last all hope. Wanderers who behind them had no home or homeland, no familiar stead, and none ahead. On their reed pipes they were sighing unrevealed despairs and sorrows. Sounds ascended, strident, wounding, sounds discordant, blaring, pounding from tambourines and horns and oboes. Where slowly rolled the caravans along the long white ways, the winging dust rose up in swirls to blur with a fine haze the purple outline of the hills, while creaked the lumbering caravans. Sometimes a brief rebound, a movement as of startled deer, would fill the valley with its sound, and then it seemed as though the virgin silence had by a snarling curse been violated, or laughter in a sudden gust pulsated, a burst of joy, of rage a yell, you could not tell. Behind the thickets and the brambles, in secret places, desires and passions mated lustfully with fierce embraces. Others, urged on by their thirst, by a thirst which had transformed them into lean, unsated spectres, stood upon the river bank, as though rooted there, and drank their fill with hollowed hands, or full length upon the sands, lapping up the water's flow. Others, stilly as though bound by the leaden chains of slumber, lay where they had dropped exhausted, some upon the cold bare ground, some among the lushy grasses, using boulders for their pillows, rushes for their mattresses. They lay huddled up in gullies, on low banks, in shallow ditches, gathered there like embalmed corpses, freed alike from grave and strife. They resembled placid travellers, waiting there to be escorted by their benefactor Charon to another silent life. There were bold, upstanding women, folk-deluding fortune-tellers, with the raggedness of beggars, with the eyes of marble statues, and their gaze seemed fixed and empty, for their sight was ever focused upon prophetic oracles and mystic destinies. And from their splendid forms for all to see, their tatters flowed like robes of royal porphyry. There were the gypsies flayed by the lash of every wind. There were the scorched and tanned by desert sun and sand. Those drifting wrecks were bodies by toil worn out and blighted, souls that roamed from land to land, untouchable and uninvited. They were the dark migrating omens, they were the swallows of misfortune, announcers of a stormy spring. Sad birds, the songs they knew were curses, their nests were scorn and suffering. They were forever bronzed outlaws, cast out, rejected and reviled, forever homeless interlopers, forever fugitives and vagrants, from whom day hid her shining face. The gypsies wandering from place to place, the gypsies roaming day by day, from far away to far away. Lit up by night, circling by night, outside the harbor's sweet